So as most of you probably already know, we got introduced to a bunch of new 2D features in Unity 2018. And we have actually covered a couple of them on this channel before, which are the SVG and also the pixel perfect ones. And I've also covered them both on Unity's official channel, so link in the description if you want to check it out. Shameless plug, I know. I mean, it's just cool. I'm sorry, but it's really cool to have your videos up there. But so in this video, we're going to check out the brand new 2D animation tool, which basically allows you to rig and animate your 2D sprites and assets within the Unity editor. And that's absolutely massive because obviously you have to rig your 2D sprites and 3D models in case you want to animate them. So being able to do it right within the Unity editor instead of having to go to other softwares, it's huge. But now, without further ado, ready up your Unity projects and let's start rigging and animating. Hey guys, it's Sam here. So, judging by the votes on our last poll on the channel, you guys said you wanted to see more tutorials, and this is one of them, but I would also like to ask you, what kind of tutorials are you interested in specifically? Let us know that in the comment section of this video, and I'll try and make videos on the topics you guys suggest. But now, with that being said, let's go ahead and learn about this new 2D animation tool. So, to start off with, let's take a quick look at the project that I have open here. So I'm using Unity 2018.3 right now, which is available as beta, and I just have a normal 2D project open, so it's not like the lightweight render pipeline or any other template. It's just a raw 2D project. I'm also using two free asset packs in this video. So the first one is the Orc Warrior, which is the character that we're going to animate in this video, and the second one is the Sunny Land Forest assets. That is basically this environment right here. And this one, I'm just using it for eye candy. Literally, it doesn't serve a purpose for the video except for actually just being there. So if you guys want to use the same assets, especially the Orc Warrior, which is going to be the sprite that we animate and rig, you can find these in the description box down below under show notes, where I'm going to leave a link to each of them. So yeah, that is pretty much our scene and the current project that we have open. So with that being said, let's actually go ahead and start with the video itself finally. So what we're going to do now, first and foremost, is to import the package that is necessary for this animation system to work in our project. So we're going to go to the package manager by simply entering window and then pick the package manager. And in here, so Unity 2018.3 also introduced a little change to the UI of the package manager. Before, there used to be a button right here that said all. You could just press it and then you would have a list of all the packages. Now you have to go to advanced and then trigger something called show preview packages. So when you do that, you can obviously see a list of all the packages that are available. I think this one looks better in terms of being a little bit more professional looking, but the all button was a little easier to see. However, it doesn't really matter. So let's go ahead and import the 2D animation package that is at the top of this window actually, so it's very convenient. So I'm just gonna press install here and let Unity do its work. Alright, cool. So the package is now installed and now we can actually just close down the package manager. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my Orc Warrior folder, and inside of here I'm just going to enter the art folder, and now you can see that we have the sprite assets for our orc in here. And we're going to use this first one, so I just basically had to drag and drop it into our scene right here, and obviously it's very big right now, so I'm just gonna scale it down a little bit. So something I wanted to just suggest you guys is if you ever drag in a sprite into your Unity project in 2D and it becomes invisible upon dragging in, you just have to make sure that you put the order in layer to be 1 so that it moves it forward a layer in front of the camera. So basically that's how the 2D system works in Unity. So you get to learn a little bit of general 2D too, so which is pretty cool. So now that we have our orc in the scene, we're just gonna go to the orc asset file inside of our project tab, and this time we're gonna hit the Sprite Editor. And the Sprite Editor is a tool in Unity that allows you to edit your sprites, as per given from the name, basically without having to enter other software. So if you wanna like slice it, trim it, whatever it might be, change its size, etc., you can do it within Unity. But as a matter of fact, this is not going to be very attractive for us for now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna enter this menu right here, and we're gonna enter Bone Editor. And this is where the rigging takes place. So what we're gonna do is we'll start off by, as you can see, we have 5 different tools here. So we're gonna start by taking a look at an overview of these tools and see what they do. And then we'll actually rig the whole character. I might actually like speed up that part so you don't waste your time. And then finally, before ending the video, we're just gonna have a little animation sequence for the character and show you how you can actually animate your rigged character. So first things first, we have our first tool here called Create Bone. And this tool basically allows you to create a chain of bones that are going to be connected to each other. So for example, let's say if we wanted to have a spine for our character on its torso, I could simply just go ahead and create the bones. And so the way you do that actually is I can just basically highlight the tool first and foremost, so toggle it, and then you can press down your left mouse button and leave it, so don't hold it down because it's automatically just going to snap to your mouse position like this. And then I could just create, let's say I want to have a bone here, so this is going to be the top of the character's spine. And then when you click once, it's automatically going to keep going. So it's going to be a connected bone that is going to be connected to the first one. So let's say we want the second one to be this long, and then the third one can be like this. So when you're done and you don't want to use this tool anymore, you can simply hit the right mouse button and it's going to untoggle the tool for you. And just a general overview of the workflow here. So you can zoom in and out if you want to by using the scroll wheel, and you can also move around in this window by using the right mouse button while holding it down. Also, one more thing that I want to mention before moving on to the next tool. So the first bone you ever create for your character is going to be the main bone. So what that means in non-technical terms, to make it as easy as possible for you, let's say you want to animate this character after actually rigging it, right? Because that's what we're going to do. So this is our first bone that we created, right? That means it's the main bone, and when you try and animate this bone, it's going to, whenever you move this or rotate it, all the other bones that are connected to this one are going to move with it. And I actually made the same mistake yesterday because I was trying to create a bone, or a few bones rather, for the leg of this orc, and I was then trying to like move it to animate it, but then the whole character was moving with it. So I was like, that's probably not what I'm trying to do here, but okay, fine. So now with that being out of the way, let's move to the second tool, which is named Create Free Bone. So the difference between a regular bone and a free bone is that the free bone is not going to be connected right away to this bone right here. So it is actually going to be connected, but the way it works is that it's not creating a chain of bones as in comparison to the first tool. So this is very useful. For example, as you can see, we have limbs here. So if I wanted to connect the spine to, or rather the arm to the spine, right, so that the arm moves with it, I probably don't want to have a bone that looks like this because it's going to be a bone for a limb that doesn't exist in this space. So what you can do is you can just create a free bone right here, and that means you connect the arm to the spine itself. And as you can see, you also get to draw a single bone here. So when I draw it like this, for example, it's going to automatically toggle the free bone tool again. But if you just want to cancel it and keep on building the arm, you can do so by just hitting the right mouse button as usual, and then highlighting this bone, and then just create a normal bone. So now you can just fully flesh this out like this. Probably don't want to have 3 bones there, but whatever. And now obviously I want to connect to the hand by using a free bone. So I can just hit the right mouse button, toggle the create free bone, and just connect it to the hand here. And now I can just drag and drop the bone right here and hit the right mouse button once again. So I'm just going to repeat these steps basically to rig the entire character, and this is how you do it. So go ahead and do this on your own and see if you can do it. If not, repeat this last part because that's basically how you do rigging. And if you need any help, obviously let us know in the comments. So I'll see you in just a bit. All right, now the character is fully boned and rigged. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna apply the changes, and there we go. So just to quickly cover the other tools that we have left over right now. So if we wanted to, let's say for example, if we wanted to make sure that this bone right here is not actually a part of this connected chain of bones, but it's kind of like a free bone, we could do so by simply using the free move tool. So I just basically highlight the bone that I want to edit, and then highlight the, or rather pick the tool free move, and then I can start moving it, and you can see that it becomes a free bone. And you can also undo and redo stuff here, so you can just hold down Control, press Z on your keyboard, and boom. And then let's say if you wanted this bone to be connected to a different bone or a different chain of bones, instead of just this and this one, you could just simply highlight the one that you want to edit, and then go to the parent tool, and then basically pick a different bone in the body. So as you can see now, the parent of this is basically a connection of a free bone to this one. I'm just gonna undo that as well. But let us also say you perhaps don't want 3 bones as the spine, but you want 4. So you want one more. You basically don't really have to draw one more bone. You could simply just use the split tool, which is going to split the highlighted bone itself. And then you can obviously move this around and reorganize everything so it's working perfectly fine like that. And then finally, you can also delete a bone by highlighting it and then using the delete tool, which is just going to turn these 2 into free bones. And in return, also cancel the connection in between those. So yeah, that is pretty much how rigging works in Unity. And now we're gonna take a look at another feature real quick before actually moving on, which is a part of the rigging process. So we're gonna enter the menu here once again, and this time we're gonna enter something called Skin Weights and Geometry Editor. So I've already generated something for this character before actually recording the video. So if this is completely kind of like a big rectangle for you, instead of being like an outline, you could just click on Generate, and then you can generate the geometry for your character to get this kind of good outline for it. And so as you can see, we have 3 different settings here, and just want to quickly explain these. So outline detail is basically the density and accuracy of the mesh to the sprite outline. So basically the lower amount you have here and generate, the more rectangular it's gonna become. Or if you have it very high up, it's going to become way more precise. And then we also have alpha tolerance, which is a threshold for transparency considered when generating the outline. So I usually don't have it very high up, just kind of like at 30, 40-ish, something like that, so we can just generate that as well. And then last but not least, Subdivide is basically just, it subdivides the mesh to increase tessellation. So higher values increase the tessellation and complexity of the generated mesh, and all of these settings are actually explained via the doc itself. So the doc file is also linked in the description in case you want to check it out for more facts, and I just didn't want to like tell you these by using my own words because it might become a little, inaccurate. So I just basically wanted to replicate that. And Subdivide, I usually have it around 70, something like that, 72, that's fine. And as you saw, I generated every single time I edited a single value here, but basically you can generate just after editing everything together, so it's completely fine. And there we go. So you can now see the difference in torso because we have all these points here, which is basically what Subdivide does. So now let us go ahead and apply these changes. And last but not least, we'll also enter weights. So what we're gonna do in here is we're gonna edit the skin weights. And what that means is basically by using this tool, you can simply say, for example, we have 3 different bones in the spine here, right? So I could say the yellow bone, the middle spine basically, I don't want this yellow bone to be influencing a lot of vertices. So you could just simply either use the slider by simply editing the amount you want to use for it, or you could also use the brush tool. So in here, I can set the hardness to be like 36. And then I can simply just paint in here, and you'll see that it's almost like the terrain editor brush. Not really, but kind of, you know what I mean? So it's a pretty good way of just painting your character's skin weight. And there's also one very good thing about this. So you can actually drag the bones here, and it will automatically preview basically how it's gonna look when you're animating. So if I try doing this with the pink bone, there is no vertice, no part of the body that is going to be following up because obviously it's just black right now. So you can simply just highlight this bone and start painting like this. And I just went a little bit over. So when I actually move this, you can see that a part of it is going to follow. So it looks kind of weird. But one more good thing is that I'm just gonna undo these. So because this can take a little bit of time, they actually added something called auto. So when we press this, it's automatically going to generate the skin weight for us. However, there's actually something weird happening to me right now. So as you can see, wrong colors are assigned. So in case this happens to you as well, it might be the tool itself, or it might just be me. I'm actually gonna research this. I tried yesterday, but I couldn't really find anything. So if the same thing happens to you, just use the brush tool or the slider and like highlight the bone you wanna edit and just paint a little bit. It's gonna probably take like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, something like that, especially depending on your character and the complexity. But for me, it's probably just gonna take 3 minutes to finish. All right, there we go. So I think that actually looks pretty good. It's not bad at all. Just keep in mind that I'm not very professional in this scenario, like I'm not a very good character rigger or an animator. But obviously, usually the auto tool is supposed to work perfectly fine with this kind of stuff. However, the tool is still in preview as well, so it's not fully fleshed out yet. But now if we move like the arm here a little bit and rotate, you can see that it's pretty good. It still has a little bit of clipping because my brush skills are not the best. I'm not a painter, okay? But it's not bad at all. So what I'm gonna do is just apply these changes and just exit the Sprite Editor for now. And now we're also gonna go to our orc object in the hierarchy, and we're gonna click add component, and we're gonna add something called Sprite Skin. So when you look at this component, it might look a little scary. I was actually pretty afraid of it because you have to like assign it bones and stuff like that. But actually, Unity is like, hey, we know you're lazy. So you just basically have to create bones and boom, it does it for you, which is pretty cool. So now in the scene window, you can see that the orc has these bones that we actually created. So now one of the questions I know you're gonna ask me is, well, the character is disassembled into its limbs, so how do we make it one piece? Which is a good question. So let's say we wanted to make the head a part of the body, which usually it should be. You just basically drag the thick part of the bone into here. And why thick? Well, because I'm not even gonna make that joke. No, but really, because if you pull the thin part, it's just going to rotate it, and you can see a part of the body follow up as well. That's because of my brush skills. I'm sorry, I'm not very perfect with that. It actually looks super buff right now, doesn't it? But we'll still fix it. So I'm just gonna drag the arm as well, and we're gonna fix this clipping in just a moment, by the way. So I'm just gonna fix the arm, the hand as well. Kind of looks a bit weird. Hey, don't judge, okay? This is a perfect orc. Aren't you scared of this? So I also added a small bone, as you can see, to the hand and also the axe here. So just so I can actually pull it like this. All right, there we go. Now you're a really ideal type of orc. You probably have the head here, but yeah, that's fine. Actually, you know what? I just fixed it. So we probably want to fix like this clipping issue between the neck and rather the body itself, the torso, and also the head, right? So as I promised, you can actually go to the Sprite Editor one more time and then enter the Skin Weights and Geometry Editor, and then go to Weights, and let me just like put it like this so that it's very visible. And then in here, we pick the brush tool and pick the bone that we want to edit. So the way this works is that it's very similar to what we did actually in the beginning of this video. So by moving the ordering layer for the 2D sprite of our orc, we made it more visible than the background. We moved it a layer forward. And you basically do the same thing here. So bone depth, we can actually just say 1 and then go ahead and apply. And you'll see that it eliminates this. And now we obviously have a clipping between the arm and the torso, so you can do this obviously with everything in here. And you don't have to generate every single time, or rather apply every single time you make a little change. You can do it all and then just apply the changes. So I'm actually gonna do that, and then I'll see you in a bit. All right, there we go. So now it looks a lot more accurate. And the way I put the left arm of our orc behind the torso to make it look a little bit more correct 2D is simply by going to weights and then entering this bone and putting it to -1. So I did the same thing with the axe. So if I go to the bone for the axe, you can see that it's at -1, and that puts it behind the hand, which is initially has the bone depth of 0. And actually we can put the bone depth for the hand to be 1 to actually put it in front of the arm itself. And there we go. So we're totally done this time with this window. So I'm just gonna close it down permanently for now. But yeah, that is how this system works, and I think it's very smooth to work with. And we can also animate the orc as any other game object in Unity by simply just highlighting it, going to Window, enter Animation, and then pick the animation tool right here. And then we can simply create a new animation. And inside of our assets folder, we're gonna create an animation called Orc Attack, something like that. So then we can just toggle record mode, and inside of our scene window, I can simply start moving and rotating the bones like this. Let's say we're gonna start from here, and then after 0.45 seconds, it's going to rotate its arm like this. And then after 0.15 more seconds, it's going to rotate it down like that. And then we can also have like the hand animation. Oh, not the axe, the hand itself. Oh, okay, it's disassembled, boys. All right, there we go. And as you can probably tell, I mean, obviously tell, I'm very talented with animations, and I'm actually ready for a contract by Ubisoft. It looks so dull. Actually, let's copy the first keyframe or set of keyframes and paste it right here. And now it will be a little bit more smooth, hopefully. There we go. Okay, now you know what, Ubisoft, I don't want you guys anymore, okay? But yes, that is pretty much how you animate, or rather rig and then animate your sprites in Unity now by using Unity 2018, which is super, super cool. I mean, honestly, like all jokes aside, I know I've been memeing a little bit, but seriously, this system is just so good. Like, it's very simple to work with. It has an amazing workflow. The only thing that I mentioned, or rather realized and then mentioned, is the brush tool in comparison to the auto button. So when you press the auto button, you do expect it to be correct, but you know, it's a preview package, so I can't say anything more than that. But I'm sure the team is working on it, which is fantastic. So this is really, really nice, and I want to hear your opinions, obviously. So let me know in the comment section down below if you're using this system or if you're gonna use this system. And if this video has been helpful. And also let me know, like, are you working on any games right now? Are you making a 2D game, a 3D game? Feel free to drop any links and, you know, share your game for any exposure. It can be YouTube videos too, that's totally fine. You know, you watch my videos and I want to return the favor by simply putting a little bit more exposure your way, if it's possible for me to do something, obviously. So yeah, let me just actually stop this. He's really tired of life at this point. So that is pretty much it for this video. Hopefully that should give you an overview of how the new 2D animation tool works, and also the skeleton rigging. I personally really like the tool because it's super easy to use and you can use it within the Unity editor. So like I said in the intro of this video, instead of having to go to other softwares, you can just do everything within Unity. It's super. So if you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more tutorials and especially 2D type of stuff, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and also hit the subscribe button below the video and turn on the bell notifications so you actually get notified every time we upload something new. Also, let us know in the comment section what you think of this new feature, the 2D animation feature, and if you're going to be able to use it, because I want to know if you're creating a 3D or 2D game, because obviously this is a very 2D specific feature. Also, if you guys like the channel and want to see more content in general, and you think I've been helpful for you in your game development journey, consider checking out our Patreon page, which is a service that allows you to donate to me monthly so I can keep growing technically. But yeah, that is pretty much all I wanted to say for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will be super active actually in the comment section and in our Discord server, so I hope to see you guys there. Thanks for watching. Until next time. I would also like to give a huge shout out to Richard Stans, Cupola, and every other Patreon we have had this month. You guys are awesome.